Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Well, guys, it's a little misty, hazy, and drizzly today, as you can obviously tell. But I'll tell you what, the smells outside here are truly amazing. I mean, you can smell the leaves, the fallen leaves. You can smell all the trees in the back there. It just smells like, Irish spring, the soap Irish spring. It actually smells so fresh and so nice. And guys, with all the demands that's put on our minds on a day-to-day basis, I mean, the pressure that most people are under is truly, truly phenomenal that we can even cope under all of it. But I'll tell you what, we all got to have a release valve. And that's why, and of course, I'm from Canada, and a lot of Canadians, we love nature. And I'll tell you, there is just something serene about getting out there in nature, whether you're going for a walk or whether you're, just kind of sitting in the park or whatever, or just feeling the wind or the breeze that calms your spirit in such a powerful, powerful way. And I would really, my encouragement would be to get out there and kind of look at nature. Do you think, when you see the little squirrels running by or the birds flying around doing their thing and stuff like that, that they're just all in a panic like a lot of us human beings are? Guys, no, they're just going about what they normally would do, and they know when to do it and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing the instinct that God has put in all these creatures. But there you go. And just watching them kind of brings a level of peace and serenity to you that really can make a powerful, powerful difference, because it's that buildup, where you build up all those stresses and that. It literally causes you to burst after a while where you just can't take anymore. That's where get out, have a release valve, enjoy yourself, enjoy what's around you, to be sure, because, hey, as Jesus said, the body is more than food, or the body's more than raiment and food and all that. And don't spend too much time worrying about tomorrow, because, hey, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof, right? That is some powerful words of truth coming from the Master himself, I'll tell you what. Guys, what's going on today is truly wild as well, because, I'm reading articles, and a lot of times the narratives, it seems like if it's, they'll put it out there for a little while, but then it gets kind of boring, so you don't hear about it anymore. And it's kind of that whole out of sight, out of mind kind of syndrome that happens. You think, oh, well, then that problem must be solved because we're not hearing too much about it. But it's furthest from the truth. In fact, the article that I was reading today was talking about food security. And right now, the price of rice, get this, and that is a main staple around the wide world, big time. The price of rice has reached all-time highs, 15-year highs in terms of price. And at the time when we're still dealing with a global food crisis. Now, it's not that food isn't available, it's the affordability of it. I mean, there are folks out there genuinely making decisions about the quality of the food that they're going to eat because they're looking at the prices of the more healthier choices and they can't handle it. And so what do you got? You got all these other foods that are being replaced, to lower that price, right? And on and on and on. And it's no surprise if this keeps going, you better believe we'll all be eating bugs, that's for sure. I mean, they basically, and this is another deal too, when we think about this whole agenda that they have, the whole 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy kind of thing, a lot of times people are thinking, oh, they're going to craft laws and legislation. I don't think they even have to do that. All they have to do is just make it so it's absolutely unaffordable for the average person. And you can better believe you'll be in a 15-minute city, because you're not going to be able to afford to drive halfway across town or all the way across town 2-3 times a week there and back, because they're going to send the price of all the necessities for you to do that through the roof. The insurance, the repairs on the car, the gas, the oil, whatever. I mean, all they have to do is just jack these prices up like the, airfares and all that. And boy, I'll tell you what, just by doing that in and of itself alone, boy, you're going to prevent a lot of people from being out there to actually do that, aren't you? Yep, that's right. And guys, right now, a lot of people are really, really hurting. And this says a lot, because, hey, that thing that just came out, the stat that we were talking about the other day, where the average wage for half of Americans is under $41,000 a year. And that's before taxes. And the medium rent right now is $1,900, almost $2,000 a month. So you think about that. How much money is left over after you're keeping a roof over your head to pay for electricity, car insurance, food, gas, and all the other stuff? Not much, right? So what do people do? Obviously, they turn to their credit cards until those get maxed out. And of course, right now, we are seeing statistics show that most Americans have accumulated a tremendous amount of credit card debt without, get this guys, the ability to even make the minimum monthly payments. Now that says volumes, I'll tell you. And we're at a place right now where the dollar, the value, the purchasing power of that dollar is being eroded like you have never seen in terms of how fast with respect to the prices of other goods and things like that. And of course, we know that the attack on the dollar has never been more severe than it is right now. And boy, I almost think it's poetic justice or something in a way. Here, Henry Kissinger lived till he was 100 years old. Now, it was him who was one of the main negotiating architects of the whole petrodollar deal, right? Well, just as the petrodollar has literally been killed off, he dies off. It's kind of wild when you think about the coincidence of that. But needless to say, here we are. A point in history where we're going to feel a lot more pinch, a lot more pain. And this is where, hey, you know, one way is to insulate yourself. And we've done it. I mean, those of us in this digital asset space, because digital assets, and you had Larry Fink not too long ago come out there and say, listen, digital assets are going to represent a safe haven, kind of like traditional gold and silver did against a falling dollar. Now, Larry Fink, I mean, CEO of BlackRock, you know, we're talking trillions of dollars of assets under management. And for him to come out and say that when not too much earlier before that, within 3 to 5 years, he was like, well, I'm not getting any interest in that. Now the interest is on like Donkey Kong. Doesn't that fit a narrative, boy, I'll tell you, boy. But here we are, we're living in this world where it's all upside down. It is literally upside down. And those things that we relied on in the past, hey, we're not going to be able to rely on that anymore. We have to be able to pivot, guys. We got to pivot with the rest of the world. And I do believe that regulatory clarity in this space is coming in a big way because the current system is imploding and they need an answer. And don't kid yourself, they have think tanks thinking this stuff up like crazy and they are looking down the road. They're not that stupid. A lot of these policies, they seem to come out of thin air. Seem to, right? You know, we hear nothing about it. Then all of a sudden, within a 2-week period, wow, there's this big solution. Guys, I'm telling you, most of the time, those things are thought out years in advance. When I was working with the federal government there in Canada, we would literally have things that they would call Vision 2020, you know, back because we would start that out in 2010. They have a 10-year plan, 10-year plans, and they literally craft their legislation, their policy, their procedure, their operations, all that geared towards those goals. You can learn a big lesson in that right there. You got to set goals. You got to be strategic. You got to absolutely be razor sharp. And every decision that you make has to go through the filter of, is it going to help me to achieve that goal? Most people, guys, and I share this in my coaching a lot too, but most people do not achieve their goals, not because they're unattainable, but because they lose the resolve to do it. You have got to build up that resolve. And yes, there will be pain involved because you're going to have to say no to some things over here to say yes to some things over there. And here's one for you right there. You know what? Judy and I, when we were getting into this, we established a no account. You said, well, what's a no account? Well, hey, every time you say no to Starbucks, every time you say no to that extra pizza, or every time you say no to getting out, you take that, or going to eat out, you take that money that you would have spent on that and you set it aside and you establish a no account and you say no to all these things so you can say yes to these things over here. And that's what you start to build up and utilize as investment capital, and then you make it grow. It's like seed, guys. Now, hey, I oftentimes say, yeah, some seed you got to eat, right? The lights need to stay on, this, that, whatever. I always love to say this. But think of your seed like an apple seed. And this is a great analogy, and I always bring this one up too. You take that apple seed and you go over to Dubai and you plant it in the red desert. Are you getting an apple tree? Well, probably not. But why not, guys? Because soil matters. That's why not. It's not that there's anything wrong with your seed. You got to find good soil. Don't be a victim of what's coming down the road. Plan, plan, plan. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Do your part. Use that wisdom and get out there and see. And yeah, it's sometimes people, they look at, oh, it's so small. Why should I even start? Why should I even care? Because guys, do not despise the day of small beginnings. Those little seeds planted in the right soil literally can produce massive amounts of fruit, and not just for one season, season after season after season. That's how you got to mentally think about it, guys. It's not just about meeting those cravings and desires right now. Look down the road. Delayed gratification, I'll tell you what, is something that we need a whole lot more of. Now, our generation, hey, we were brought up with delayed gratification, weren't we? You know, all that kind of stuff. But it has been lost in the last few decades because of the whole instant, you can have it now, pay for it later, and on and on. And what has that got us into? Well, guys, it's got us into one of the worst fixes that this country has ever seen in generations. And now we got to pay the payday. There's always a payday, guys. I'll tell you what, take a different tact. Change the focus and start making some plans. At least that's what I would encourage you to do. Well, anyways, guys, I sure hope you're having a fabulous Thursday wherever you are in the wide world. And until later on, we have an amazing video for you. Have a great one and take care.